Hello, this is News.Markets. There's still volatility and uncertainty on global markets, but from blue chips to exciting young startups, investors favoured long-term growth and diverse funds in September. Andy Parsons, Head of Investment Research at the Share Centre, is here to talk about top traded funds for last month. Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Thank you.
How did September fare compared to previously?
Well, obviously it was a month of extreme volatility for investors coming off the back of August. But again, what we have seen is a natural investment philosophy of going to what people know. Core investments. You know, we see that the top one was Neil Woodford through his Woodford Investment Management. And that's people, for us, seeking a really assured manager, someone who's been through these times. He knows how the markets can be volatile, and he makes his portfolio secure, but with excitement inside it.
Were there any surprises?
There were some surprises, and that's the interesting thing. We actually found 2 emerging market funds in there, and therefore that's more likely for, is it going to be a contrarian investor? Because you've got to have some belief that, you know, in these troubled times, emerging markets are going to come back, because with all the uncertainty around American interest rates, emerging markets are most probably not the area one would expect to see a retail investor going into. But then again, if you are contrarian and valuation opportunities, then for the longer term, it could be quite an appealing time.
It's unusual, though, that retail investors becoming more adventurous, more sophisticated.
One would like to think it, yes, it is, because every time you're looking and hearing the news headlines, you're looking for that opportunity, and you're just appreciating that in years to come, 10, 20 years' time, the emerging markets, they're not going to be called the emerging markets, they're going to be called the world leaders.
Any sectors that stood out in particular?
Well, there's still naturally a movement towards UK generally. Through something like Neil Woodford, you're going to be very much defensively aligned through the core blue chip companies. We saw the presence of the old mutual mid-cap, so the UK mid-cap arena. There are some recovery, there's a recovery fund, a special situation, so coming down the market cap scale, looking for excitement and opportunity, but remembering it's always for the longer term. But when the market sells off, it does create valuation opportunities. And so the fund managers within those funds, you know, they're always seeking, you know, trying to identify tomorrow's rising star.
Were there any trends that you could see across your top 10?
There's definitely still a reliance on the UK. Definitely still a reliance on the UK. It was interesting to see the contrarian appeal of the emerging markets, but also there was 2 trackers in there. And that's the active versus passive debate going on there, where maybe investors not prepared to continually look at their portfolio, so preferring to go into the tracker with the assurance that the market's covered. Because one's a complete all-share tracker, the other one is a 250, so it's just saying, okay, I've got my markets covered and I can just put it away and leave it for the time being. So
in a way, leaving it to somebody else's expertise and riding on their glory or otherwise. What do you expect? What whispers are you hearing in terms of the outlook? Are people sitting on their hands?
No, I think people are seeing that with the markets pulling back. I mean, the difference obviously between direct equity and funds is the funds are one step removed from the extreme volatility, but still they're looking and appreciating, still need income. Interest rates still low, still need income, so we would expect to always see 1 or 2 income generating funds in there. But then diversifying that portfolio and looking for that excitement, that little bit of extra opportunity, emerging markets, maybe a little bit more global presence in the portfolio, but just trying to balance the portfolio generally.
So if there aren't any global shocks, it looks like emerging markets might be one to keep an eye on in the months ahead. It'd be interesting to see if next month it was a blip or if that's a trend that continues.
Absolutely, and that's something I'd be looking out for, just to see where it is. There will always be some UK presence in there. It's just how much of an established foothold emerging markets has got.
Andy Parsons from the Share Centre, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And I'll leave you with another look at that top 10.